All right. Given that we left Town Hall to go perform a site visit, I'd like to do a roll call for this meeting to begin.
Mason,
Here.
Marvin,
Here.
Schneider, Baker,
Here.
Mason.
All right. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Next item on the agenda is citizens' time. If anyone would like to speak at citizens' time that does not have a current application, they may do so now. Seeing that there is none, we'll move on. At this time, without objection, I would like to move that item number 4, ZP 2024-0908 COA application for demolition for Blight Drive Homes permit be moved up to agenda item number 1. Do I have a consensus with the board to move this item to agenda number 1?
You do. Yes.
Okay, good. All right, and also without objection, Town Planner Thomas would like to pull agenda item number 2 off of tonight's agenda because the current sign is in violation with the sign regulations of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a consensus to remove this item?
Yes. Yes.
All right. All right, so next item in the agenda would be minute approval. Are there any changes you'd like to make to the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the September 18th ARB meeting and the October 16th ARB meeting?
A motion to approve the minutes from the September and October meetings. September 18th, 2024 meeting and October 16th, 2024 meeting.
All right, do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, none opposed. Passes 3 to 2 or not present. Meetings have been approved. We'll move on to the agenda items. So the first item up is ZP 2024-0908 demolition permit for Blight Drive Homes. Thomas, do you have any additional updates? from our site
Just
visit?
for starters, if you wanted to look at the packet, we start at packet page 51 for this item. We just earlier performed a site visit for these 3 homes. I took notes on general discussion items for each house in the surrounding area. Other than that, I've retained the application as is. Because it was thorough enough with photographs and with my staff report indicating that because it's not a historic structure, does not have other historic significance related to that outside of the definitions of what a historic structure is in the zoning ordinance, that it would be straightforward site visit and then any further discussion by the board, then the applicant can commence now.
Do you
If
prefer to come
anyone
forward?
from the application, yep.
Yeah.
So I think for those that are not aware, and Chuck, I think you missed out on the site visit. The whole purpose was essentially just to confirm that the structures are not identified by either the zoning ordinance, comprehensive plan, nor the ARB guidelines, not defined as a contributing structure. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Thomas, the only thing that we had said about is adding to the motion some additional photographs overall, kind of from the street to get a sense of overall scale.
From what the board discussed, yes.
Yeah, to preserve for archival purposes. All right. Yeah, is there a draft or is any other questions, discussions?
No, I wouldn't take a look at it earlier, just
Okay.
anticipating I might not be able to get there.
Do you have anything else that you want to add?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Or-
do we provide the photos or are you guys taking them?
The applicant will provide the photos.
Okay.
Okay,
And I think some of the photos, Thomas, correct me if I'm wrong, the ones that are in the packet were already provided by the applicant, or were those
Yes,
town
those
staff?
were provided by the applicant.
Okay, so I think the only, I guess, caveat to the photos is try to take horizontal overall. That way you kind of capture the whole overall elevations, facades of the building.
Okay.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Packet page 60. And as discussed with ARB Chair previously, with additional documentation.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yep, okay. I move that the board approve the COA for ZP 2024-908 for the demolition of the 3 single-family units at 6700, 6710, and 6720 Blight Drive.
with the caveats of additional,
With additional one.
with additional photo documentation.
Oh, yes, and with the caveats of additional photo documentation.
Is that enough for your? All right. Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Well, or do I need a roll call vote for that, or?
I don't believe so. It's good.
Okay, all right, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Next item on the agenda would be for ZP 2024-1102, Zandra's patio installation in Thomas. Will you please update us on this
Yes.
application?
So I'll give a brief introduction on location, history of some of the installations on the property, and then we'll open time for you and the applicant to discuss as well, and any follow-up questions.
Okay.
From my timeline, what I have is there's the QBE building on the east side of town, just at the very edge of town. Multiple tenant spaces approved within that. There was a 2017 site plan submitted to add some sidewalk elements, other exterior elements to the site plan or to the site in general. In 2018, there was a revision for more pickup and drop-off points for tenants on the western side of the QBE building. What I've attached in packet page 17 and 18 is a rendering from the agenda item from January 20th, 2021 regarding the proposed enclosure surrounding the patio of Xander's Taqueria, this particular site. The context for this too is this is during COVID. The installation would also, if approved in the certain time window, would be allowed to then receive COVID grant funding. There was a few conditions associated with it on packet page 19, you'll see in the minutes. For the first year through 2021, it will only be up in place for the last week of October through the first week of May. Any subsequent years will be the last week of October to the first week of April. And so that is part 1 of 2 within this application as I've reviewed and presented it. There's that first enclosure that was applied for and approved by the ARB in 2021. The second enclosure, which you will see on the following packet pages, is an existing fence structure surrounding the patio. You can see the older approved enclosure in the rear of that. It looks like the front face of it is open, and that is current pictures taken within the last month. The applicants also provided interior pictures of the patio for reference. And that is the background history we have for this particular application. I'd like to invite the applicant, if you'd like to speak on any of this as well, or answer any questions from the ARB, to come up. Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, I guess what's the intended? I mean, maybe I'll kick this off. What's the intended schedule for the enclosures? Is it still to be up October through April, or?
So as of right now, we no longer done the full enclosure in probably over a year.
Miguel, could you go to the podium so you can be heard on the mic, please? Thank you.
Sorry. As of right now, we haven't done the full enclosure probably in over a year. We have a small enclosure over the front door entrance, kind of almost like a vestibule type area. we don't really have a preference one way or the other. If the board's preference is to have it removed, we can have it removed. If I think the only thing that we're looking for on our end is that, when we first did this, the thought of putting it up, taking it down, putting it up, testing it out, it's just not financially feasible for us to take it up and put it down all the time. So I guess our idea would be either to, go for a motion to try to allow the vestibule area in front of the door to stay up year round. Or if it's not within the guidelines or not correct, we're happy to remove it and just take it away.
Okay. And then Thomas, can you remind us, I know the requirements were originally from October to May. What was the rationale?
I don't want to speak for the applicant because I wasn't here in Haymarket at the same time as well. It seems more like it's winter, it's windy, it's cold.
Yeah.
Well,
So I
we want to
mean,
keep our customers
At
warm.
the time, there was a grant application through Prince William County. We were in the thick of COVID. The idea was to be able to allow additional spacing for customers who didn't necessarily feel comfortable being inside. At the time, I guess it was a relatively new proposal and idea for the town. So the ARB at that time felt comfortable with it being more of a seasonal item, kind of see how it goes and then come back and look at another alternative. And then, as COVID ended, our business models have changed. I honestly got busy and just never thought about it again until it was brought to our attention. So like I said, I apologize. But I mean, we're open to either. We haven't done the full enclosure. We have no intention of doing the full enclosure anymore. And so we're open to ideas and suggestions as the board sees fit.
So then I guess as part of the original enclosure, was it just the awning? Because it looks like, there's that vestibule area, the canvas vestibule, and then you have the overall like roof structure that kind of projects out about 10 feet off of the face of the facade with the columns. Is that all?
So the canopy enclosure and patio, that was approved a long time ago. The approval was for the actual canvas type material that was installed in between the 10 by 10 posts.
Okay, so it was to enclose it.
Yeah, it was to actually
Okay.
enclose it and kind of winterize the space. And the way that it worked, it was a canvas material. It was installed. They're pretty much framed panels installed with black canvas, installed between the 10 by 10 posts. And then it had windows that were either screens for the summertime if you wanted to let fresh air in, or like a solid vinyl window for more of the winter time. And I think it was great. It helped us survive COVID. It worked really well for the first year or two. And then I think as, people got comfortable again with, being in public, it kind of lost its need or appeal. What we ended up doing was, there was also a huge, to take it down, store it, and put it back up every year was like $15,000, which completely defeated the purpose of the expanded patio. So we ended up taking it down. We left one panel up between us and the brewery to kind of create a separation, because we're having problems with patrons thinking they could kind of free flow however they wanted. So we left that panel up, and then we left the vestibule area up. It provided a winter screening, summer screening between going in and out of the restaurant with AC heating. It kind of provides that. But at the end of the day, it's, we're open to whatever view. I mean, I don't think it looks bad. I think it fits in with what we've been doing, but I understand that it was originally approved to be temporary.
Okay, so it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's either leaving the current vestibule up or removing it. It's all about
I think the thing is either leaving it as it is currently set up today, or just completely removing it and being done with it.
Okay. Any questions, comments, thoughts?
On the, thanks for coming in, Miguel, but on the other side, not where the front entrance, is it the same with the kind of awning, or is it just, that's where it stops?
It's so at the very end,
Yeah.
there's a panel, so the front side of things, there's the vestibule that goes over the front door.
Yes.
And then on the opposite end, there is still one panel up that kind of is the L of the canopy.
Okay.
And we've left that in place just because there's kind of like this 2-foot drop off. And so that wall kind of provides this, like letting customers know that like this is the end, and provides a little privacy between the brewery and kind of defines our space. And that's why we've left it up. I think if it's to remove it, we would probably come back and try to propose something else, or put some kind of temporary fencing there, or a railing of some sort to enclose that so people don't just walk off the patio. But at the end of the day, we just want to be in compliance.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I mean, to me, it looks consistent with the rest of it. Yeah, I don't know if taking it down would change much.
And I think, Thomas, the application is both for the vestibule and the patio, right?
Yes, exactly. So I think we've talked a lot about the first part with the vestibule versus the fence and patio structures.
Yeah. Because I think the other thing too, I mean, there's like looking at the fence and the planters and everything else, there seems to be like lots of improvements that went on. There was, an infilling of the drop-off space. So I think I would recommend we table it and kind of take a look at a little bit more of that. But then I think also the caveat is, or maybe not caveat's probably not the right word, but any sort of improvement or any sort of stylistic change or architectural change that occurs with that fencing and planters, right, that will impact the visibility of that vestibule too, like how visible that becomes. Because I think with the infilling there and the expanding of the patio, there's some zoning and site things that need to be taken a look at, right? Because you increase the square footage, you increase the occupancy, and that changes some of the building parameters.
On my perspective too, I'm comfortable with the design as well, the vestibule as we've discussed. I think it's more about what do we do with the patio.
So is the application to remove the fencing and to upgrade it with the planters? Is that, or am I misunderstanding?
I think what you're suggesting is an example of if we table it, that's something the applicant and I could discuss.
Yeah, I mean, my goal is to get in compliance and get things, we did things, we did things that we had to do to survive during COVID. I mean, our business got cut by 60-70%. People wanted outdoor patio seating. Some of the items, I feel like I don't necessarily agree that they fall under ARB purview. Other items, I agree that we definitely did, and we were doing what we needed to do to survive. I mean, I've had some issues where, and everybody know that we've spoken, that we reached out during this time multiple times to the town and got no response. So I apologize, but I took the approach of, well, then I'll ask for forgiveness later because I may not be in business if I don't take the drastic steps. But as far as the expanding of the patio in adding that extra layer, I actually didn't realize that wasn't allowed. because those spots were part of our original leased space. And we basically asked the landlord if it was okay to just pave that instead of having it be parking spots or pull-in spots. So I didn't even know that that wasn't allowed until I just heard you speak about it. And then as far as the planters, I feel like they're just patio fixtures and furniture. I mean, they're movable, they're not attached to anything. They're weighed down by gravel and soil. They can be moved. They can, if they're not allowed, they can be taken out. But our concern, my concern would be whatever we need to do to get compliant. But my concern is finding something to address the safety concern between people driving through, my patrons, the divider. The reason we did the planter was, one, to provide privacy, but two, also to have a very defined area, because we do a lot of families. And the way our property is designed, where it's kind of you drive all the way around, there's a lot of safety concerns and issues there. And with this method, we've been able to really define the spaces and kind of let people know where the entrance, where the exits are, and things of that nature. So that would be my ultimate goal with whatever design, we try to achieve, is keeping that in mind. Because with the traffic and people walking out and not realizing when they walk off the patio, they're literally walking onto a street, that's my ultimate goal. As far as the design, I'm open to doing what the board would like.
Okay. So I think with this, let's decouple these two items. I think Thomas, I'd recommend, we can chat with the board, but I think we decouple. We have you look into the zoning site plans for the patio expansion, the fence installation, before the COA is resubmitted, and then today we can at least get the approval of the vestibule. Does that make everyone in agreement with that?
Yeah.
All right.
So
I was going to make a recommendation. I don't think you need to make a ruling on the vestibule necessarily yet, because
Oh, you don't?
technically, as of right now, it is in compliance. We're in October to April. So if you want to table it and look at it, because I think holistically, depending on what happens with everything else, I think looking at the patio as a whole and figuring out an ultimate design that is approvable,
Right.
I think is the goal. So I don't necessarily think you need to make a motion on the vestibule one way or the other, because depending on what happens with the rest of the design will determine, I think, what ultimately ends up there. And right now, technically, it is in compliance.
First off, I'd like to say too, town staff do see Miguel's efforts in getting in compliance with the ordinance, and I appreciate the communication we've had so far. So that being said, and given this discussion, the nature of the site and some of the new things we've discovered with the site plan items, I think it would be best practice maybe just to table the entire application. And then we work together within these next couple months to find a more comprehensive solution for the patio items around this tenant space.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like the approach of taking a holistic, comprehensive view to it. I think, sometimes folks don't always take that approach, and they just want, bits and pieces
Yeah.
where they come. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I served on an ARB for multiple years, so I understand what the position that y'all are in. And I just think at this point, there are, now that I'm aware that there are zoning type issues associated with it, I think redesigning and looking at the overall design of the patio. Because the thing is, it is an important aspect of our business. People do really enjoy the outdoor space. So if we can find a way to continue to have the safety, the charm, and find a way to make sure that everything is, the dots are everything is in compliance, then I think I'd rather, and I wouldn't mind, I can even meet out there and we can look at some of the stuff. My ultimate question was in regards to the planters. Is it because of the height that makes it become a fence versus fixtures or furniture? You know, like, is the ARB looking at things from the furniture as well? Or like, where is that, or is it just best to just start from scratch and then bring back a proposal?
I think it's best to kind of start from scratch, work with Thomas, and that way we'll have something that is compliant with the zoning, and then you know that gets put to bed, and then it just has the,
Okay.
the ARB approval.
Well, thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion to table this for now? Do I need to have a motion to table it?
You can have a motion to defer to the December meeting or to a future meeting.
Do I have, okay,
Yeah, it'd be best to have a motion to defer.
okay. Do I have a motion to defer to a future meeting? Because I don't know if we'll have it
We
ready.
don't know
Right,
if this can be done within a month.
correct.
So,
Right.
I accept that. Second that.
Or no, I
We got a
was
motion.
entertaining the motion.
No, you were,
we
oh,
would-
Yes.
we would make the motion
So then you would
I
make
make the
the motion.
motion.
To defer to a future meeting.
I make the motion to defer to future meeting
Right. Do I have a second?
As set by the town planner.
as set by the town planner.
There you go.
I second that.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Last item on the agenda is ZP 2024-1106 Kitty Academy sign permit application. Thomas, will you provide us with the information?
Yes, just before this application is reviewed, let me double check. Do we have a representative on Zoom for Kitty Academy? Great. Just to briefly introduce this application, Kitty Academy is a childcare center that is being built in the Crossroads Village Center project. It is just west of the Pulte Townhomes. It is behind Chick-fil-A and the new dentist office, Lifetime Smiles. They are currently in the building process right now. The applicants applied for wall signage in channel letter form and monument signage at the entrance to their property. The diagrams of the locations of the signs will start on packet page 47. The example design of the monument sign is on packet page 48, and 49 and 50 show location and design of the wall channel letter signage. I will say I did have a discussion with Nathan, who is representing the application tonight. There are some outstanding zoning ordinance requirements that will need to be met, but I wanted to bring this to the board just at least so we could have a discussion with the applicant about the design. So for now, I can turn the time over to the applicant if they wish to say anything prior to the ARB asking them any questions, and then we can go into further discussion on this item.
Assuming the color of the sign's gonna match the building itself.
What-
I say I'm assuming that it's just I'm assuming the color of the signage. I mean, it's just gonna be the brick is gonna be the matching the building itself. Is that? Co-partner.
Here. Well, looks, because you said about, does the brick of the monument sign match the?
I was just
the building?
saying I'm assuming that it was gonna be the same color as the building.
I mean, it almost, I don't know, I can't think of the architectural term, but like that bottom band of masonry looks to be more of like a fieldstone appearance.
Oh, like a flag.
Yeah, where the the monument sign looks like brick. I think the application, also said that the monument sign is going to be double-sided or like a two-sided sign, but through the section cut, it almost looks like it's only one-sided. Is that? Okay. Okay. Uh, okay, so then
Hmm.
so then the application is more for the actual sign and the illuminated letters on the building rather than the masonry and everything else. Okay. Okay.
So I guess that was discussed previously in a previous approval, maybe?
I don't, Thomas, is that the masonry for the monument sign had and the concrete, like, had that been discussed previously? I can't remember.
I don't believe so. I think it was mostly just awning, roof features, the siding.
Okay.
Those are the main features discussed in the
And-
previous application.
And the direct lighting that's in front of the monument sign, that's not part of the application either? Well, yeah, I guess.
It's part of this one, but it was not part of the previous application for elevations. Is that what you're referencing?
Well, so in, what is this? The monument sign drawing, it has what looks like a little lighting like a little light kind of right in front of it on the elevation.
Mhm.
So that is not also included in this application. That needs to be approved later.
Oh, I see. It is labeled on here, non-standard, non-illuminated though, so they can remove that, I guess, as part of the resubmission, but. This one.
Yeah,
The floodlight, right?
yeah, but that little floodlight that's gonna be down in the ground, that's not part of the application. Okay, just wanted to confirm. All right. And the materials for the sign on the monument sign? Trying to is it wood, PVC? Can you give I'm trying to page.
Aluminum cabinet,
What?
aluminum cabinet
Okay,
and polycarbonate faces.
okay.
That's just the sign, not the masonry.
That's just the signage, yeah, not the
Okay.
masonry.
And then is that also the same for the signage on, or the letters that will be on the facade?
Yes,
And those will be internally illuminated. And this goes behind Chick-fil-A?
roughly about, a better point of reference would be the Pulte Townhomes, where the northern edge of the Pulte Townhomes then goes into Kitty Academy.
Okay. And so these facades that will get the internally illuminated letters will be facing the townhomes and then facing 66, right?
Yes.
Is there, because I think I'm also trying to think what some of the other buildings in the area have, and I want to say Chick-fil-A. Yeah, because I'm looking at your site plan on packet page 45, and Chick-fil-A is like 2 sites in front on Washington Street. They have gooseneck lighting. I think the bank has gooseneck lighting,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So does CVS, right? Trying to think what's Lifetime Smiles is,
It used existing lighting for the site, so gooseneck.
yeah, but Lifetime Smiles is what, behind the bank, but next to Chick-fil-A, right?
Yes.
And are they gooseneck lighting? Okay.
So you're saying as opposed to self-illuminated
Yeah, so there's already, I guess what I'm trying to,
precedents?
there's a precedent for the gooseneck lighting versus the internally illuminated. So I think that might also be something we want to consider too.
Yeah, keep consistency.
So with the signs that are going on the facade, the building, will those be the same colors that for the? Okay. So okay.
All right, and then Thomas, just to clarify, which sign does not meet the ordinance?
It is the two wall signs. It's a matter of height requirements, not dimensional requirements. So in this gateway zone,
The two that
channel
go on
letter
the-
signage has to be 15 feet above, maximum 15 feet above floor level.
You said the wall signs, so the ones that go on the building versus
Yes.
the monument?
Yes,
Okay,
the wall signage, yes.
okay.
Can I get 15 feet? It's a window right there in the middle.
Yeah, say you said 15 feet off of
15 feet above floor level.
floor like grade, like foundation, like right at like ground
I said
floor?
floor level is entrance.
Okay,
Okay.
so where does
Yeah.
that, there's a, so
It cuts
basically,
it very close.
so basically between, is there an awning there and the window? That's what we're looking at? Oh wait, what's? Oh yeah, because I guess even the rear, it goes over the rear, basically right in there, and then
I think it would look odder trying to get it in the compliance than what it is.
And then Thomas, is it 15 the cutoff? Can it go higher or can't go
15 is the maximum
the
cutoff, yes.
maximum? But it could go lower too.
Yes. It is tough, especially on the front facade though,
Yeah.
with, you have the awning, you have the doors, you have the exterior lighting right there. It is much tougher to get below 15 feet due to that situation.
but I mean, it's not in compliance and with the zoning, so it's not like we can really do anything about that.
Mhm.
So just for my edification and learning, signage also is dictated by zoning?
Yes.
And in different
Mhm.
areas of Haymarket, and so it depends on residential and commercial.
Basically, there's three different sections of town. There's the Gateway, which mostly focuses on Washington Street and the James Madison Highway I-66 area. There's the core, which is mostly historic buildings in town, and there's residential. So
Okay,
the dimensions reflective of each of those signage districts.
okay.
So this is the Gateway district. This is generally the most generous of the three districts as well. But that is, we do work within the zoning ordinance, what that each district has for dimensional requirements.
So what do we do in a situation like this where the architecture just doesn't allow for, compliance?
So in this situation, it would turn into, the first step needs to be, let's see if we can meet it in any sort of way. Like worst case scenario, side of the building, not front or back. I'm not saying that's preferred by the applicant. I'm not speaking for the applicant in that moment because I assume that would not be their preference. Additionally, though, if it's a zoning ordinance related issue, then you'd apply for a variance. And that becomes a case by case review from the planning commission.
Seems like the most logical approach.
My thought would be, given this particular situation, because this has been applied for after the building has been constructed, we table this. I work with the applicant to see if a variance or another design submission would be the next best step.
100%.
I just have a real quick question. On page 50, if that's for the wall signage, I don't know for the color, it says black, but you said the letters are going to be white. So I just want to make sure.
The black background?
Yeah, for colors on page 50, it says sign type, specifics, and then color, sign, survey, artwork. But for the color, it has checked black. But I think, sir, you said that you want
white.
the wall signs to be white. I don't want that to have to be, hold up our end or your end. So I don't know if we need to change that, do something with that.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Rectangular shaped background, like in the picture? Okay.
All right. All right, so I think talked about color, material. Thoughts on gooseneck lighting?
I mean, I concur. I mean, I think that you know, everything should be consistent as possible. I mean, I understand the desire for backlit, you know, as an individual looking at it. But I mean, is gooseneck lighting at the bottom below the awning? That's what it looks like. So just,
It's hard, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I see what you're referencing.
mhm.
It's hard to tell because we don't have like a side profile to know how far out it comes, if it actually does have that true
I mean, yeah,
gooseneck.
for consistency's sake, I mean, if we can repeat that above the,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. To confirm, James, I do affirm what you said to the board. I did tell James that per the zoning ordinance, internal illumination is allowed. I will say within the staff report, and I can be more transparent about submissions as well in the future, James, there's another section in the zoning ordinance, section 58-16-8, number 4, relation of the factors, subsections, and other items of this section to similar features of the buildings and structures in the immediate surroundings. So my consideration is mostly about dimensions. Is this allowable? What does it look like, as in dimensions, illumination, those kinds of things? It comes into the board's consideration of what does this look like in relation to the surrounding area, and per zoning ordinance, they are allowed to have a discussion on those kinds of things. But like I said too, since we are tabling this and since there are other items to discuss with this, I'll get in touch with you both about a Teams call within the next few days. That way, it'll be much better. That way I get a visual of what you have on your renderings. I can go a little more in depth in the zoning ordinance, and we can make sure to be on the same page moving forward for the next resubmission of this application.
And just so I understand, so I know we were talking about the signage for the monument signing being just the center area, not the actual architecture itself. At what point does that come back as a separate application later on?
The monument signage, it could. It incurs a lot more fees for the applicant, but if that's the best way to get something approved and it's the applicant's wish, that could happen that way. Especially considering if the monument sign dimensions are met. I'm not implying they are right now, but it's another discussion we'll have. But if those are met and the wall signage is something else to be considered, the applicant may, in their best interest, split that application and reapply.
But I thought you said that the wall signage, that was the one that was not in compliance in terms of dimensional parameters. The monument sign is, correct?
I meant more, I highlighted the wall signage as the particular infraction that was sticking out.
Okay.
So I apologize for the lack of clarity on that. That being said, because it's all part of the same application, it may be best to reconvene with the applicant and then
Okay.
move forward from that.
All right.
And then we can treat this as, if they come back with a monument sign, treat this as the same application number, and the wall signage is something different.
Okay.
Like I said, it's dependent on if we can make it work with the zoning ordinance on the height requirements for the wall signage.
All right. Do I have a motion to defer to the next time the applicant presents their application to Town Planner Thomas?
Make a motion.
Make a motion?
So make a motion for a future meeting with the town planner.
All right. Go ahead. Second.
Yeah, I second that motion.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be in touch with you both.
All right. Next item, agenda item, old business. Thomas.
As far as old business, I still need to revisit a couple other outstanding zoning inspections and hopefully bring them into the ARB within the next couple months. We pretty much are completely, the Crossroads Village Center tenants are almost completely filled. They're still waiting on a few outstanding building department items with Prince William County, but otherwise everything's going smoothly with them.
Did Taco Bell ever get their stuff figured
They're
out?
almost through with the building department for their drive-through features. So that one, it went through special inspections I'm still figuring out that reason, but it went through special inspections and the building department, maybe something dimensional, something in their requirements, but it should be approved and then I'll get full zoning release for occupancy.
Are zoning inspections done per building, or is it something that's done periodically to make sure that buildings are still in compliance? Just out of curiosity.
Depends, if it's new construction, it's done to make sure that building is in compliance before we even release for occupancy. And then there are the periodic inspections, such as ones that brought these other applications up to the board. As far as that is the main old business. The sidewalk construction is going very well. We're still waiting on the back order for the lights to be installed for the sidewalk is probably the biggest holdup on the project. But everything is going well. We're working through one more VDOT submission when it comes to an inspection. The crosswalk will be installed as well, crossing Washington Street to connect with the town park. So everything's going smoothly with that project. As far as that is all I have for old business.
New business?
New business, as we discussed at the site visit, we'll be going over the applications for Lane Motors property. The applicant wishes to demolish the property and build a new site within that. So there will be demolition application and elevations applied for that we will review. That is the main item of new business that I have.
You said to demolish Lane Motors?
Application to demolish, yes.
Okay. Okay. So that's it? That's it with new business?
Mhm.
Justin, do you have a update from planning commission?
I don't remember.
We canceled the last
Yep.
November meeting.
I think we canceled, yeah, the last, yeah.
All right, town council updates, given that Marchand's not here.
Let me also say,
Oh.
our town manager is on maternity leave right now. She had her second child. Everything's gone very smoothly with that.
Awesome.
So I should have announced that a little earlier in this meeting, but that is the current update.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I'll defer to the clerk for any council updates.
Okay, so we had our election in November
Oh, that's right.
and Mr. Baker was elected to be on the council. So he will be leaving as the planning commission, ARB liaison from the planning commission. So December will be his last meeting. We are, as you can see, getting ready for our Christmas and holiday event on December the 14th. The planning commission did have a work session meeting this past Monday, which they opened up a special citizens time. They spent most of a Saturday coming up with a strategic plan for the next 1 to 3 years. And they are asking for citizen input. You would have been mailed this draft plan in the mail. If you have not found that, you can find it on Facebook or we can send it to you by email. They are still looking for input on that strategic plan. They did make a few edits on Monday night, nothing major to the plan.
You said that was town council?
Yes. They hope to adopt that at their December 2nd meeting if there are no other input from the public on that. Yeah, the town council. Mhm.
Okay.
Let's see what else.
So what, Christmas event?
Oh, they did, in November, in November, they, awarded the bid to demolish the town park house.
And what's the schedule for that?
The town treasurer, since, Ms. Carazzi is now on maternity leave, that leaves Mr. Gonzalez, working on, with the finishing up the RFP with the contract, with the award, the award winner.
But they didn't submit as part of their RFP, like estimated duration or
I
something they can start?
can't answer that because I was not privy to the
That's fair.
RFP.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else?
Oh.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn?
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.